Hey, fellow mutants, welcome back to another video. As you guys may know, I was a huge fan of the Arrowverse. Like, I say huge fan, it's like, I enjoyed Arrow for the most part. I enjoyed The Flash somewhat. I really enjoyed Legends of Tomorrow with how cheesy it was. I will be lying if I didn't say I enjoyed, Black Lightning. You know, what could, at times focused too much on Black Power, yay! But I enjoyed Black Lightning, to a certain extent. Um Batwoman was the worst out of all the Arrowverse shows. And I know there's like a few Arrowverse shows I hadn't mentioned, partially because I hadn't forgot the name because like the Arrowverse had like a fair amount of shows. And so like on the small screen, if you like tuned into the CW for a good while, for like about 10, a bit over 10 years, it was like really was a really good time being a comic book fan in terms of getting content. Supergirl was like it was all right at its moments when it was good, its moments when it was bad. But I there were moments I would say in Supergirl I enjoyed as well. Um, and I really am enjoying Superman and Lois, even though like I've heard one moment is part of the Arrowverse, next moment's not part of the Arrowverse, so it's kind of like that show is like very bipolar of if it wants to be part of the Arrowverse or not. It seems like. Anywho, and the reason why I bring Superman and Lois because the guy who played Superman in like the Supergirl show also is the same guy who does Superman in the Superman and Lois show. Same with Lois Lane. Anywho, the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover with Dumbass, which was the biggest crossover that the Arrowverse had, and potentially the final crossover that the Arrowverse had as well. Almost went to the big screen. I did hear, since we're talking about crossovers, that if we had a season 10 of The Flash, we would have had a Justice League cameo. And say what you will about the Arrowverse, I would have been like really interested in like what some of the adventures the Arrowverse's version of the Justice League would have had gone on. If that makes sense. And maybe we'll get that in like comic books or even like a short-lived animated show. Because an Arrowverse Just League, seeing that in action would honestly be cool. But I know like the pandemic cut a lot of the crossovers, like screwed a lot of things up, was kind of shortened the Arrowverse life, if that makes sense. Anywho, Crisis on Infinite Earths showrunner Mark Cunningham revealed via his Substack newsletter, The Lego Dispatch, the five-part Arrowverse event almost got a theatrical release. The plan was to celebrate the Arrowverse with Phantom events, with deleted scenes from the series and other one-off goodies airing in between episodes, as well as appearances by cast members and giveaways to some parts of the country. Now that would be cool. That would have been cool, admittedly. Unfortunately, it never happened. Why? Well, the second half of the Crisis of Infinite Earths aired in January 2020, and the theatrical event would have happened a few months after, just before the season's Arrowverse shows came to DVD. So yeah, planned as a major social event for April 2020, the Crisis of Infinite Earths theatrical screening was cancelled before they were ever officially announced. The That might seem hard to believe, but remember the Phantom events typically does 1 or 2 day engagements for their theatrical events, and that they often don't announce until it's time to start selling tickets. So I guess this is what the Sonar said. Quote unquote, I don't believe this is publicly known. Again, statute of limitations. But we had been working with Warner Bros. To release all 5 hours of Crisis in movie theaters across the country. The event, arranged through Fandom Events, was going to include special surprise spider cast appearances and giveaways, and we also cut together a few bonuses that would have been screened in between episodes. And yes, that would have included deleted scenes and the VHX completed, the sound mixed, and picture colored timed, and that I mentioned. At this point, you're probably wondering why this didn't go forward. Well, the answer is it was scheduled for April 2020. COVID ruined everything. Yeah, because I remember going to E2, being Chicago's Comic Con, and then a few weeks after, which C2E2 that year was in March, early part of March, I want to say, and maybe late February, early March, and then shortly after, me and my brother were done with C2E2, like I want to say like a week or two after that. It's when the lockdowns happened, the pandemic officially started. That was. I'm so happy we don't have to go through that. I could go into this big all rant about COVID and lockdowns, but we do it for another time. A blog feature referring to the statute of limitations of getting in trouble for spilling Arroverse secrets. Earlier in the entry, he had talked briefly about two deleted scenes from the Crisis of Infinite Earths screenplay, one of which, Pariah, witnessed the destruction of Argo City, and another in which Oliver Queen transformed into the Spectre. Cunningham said that while it doesn't necessarily seem immediately likely, he would put the possibility of those scenes coming out someday as a higher than zero. Okay. Questions of Infinite Earths, based on the comic book story by Marv Wolfman and George Pérez, took place over 5 episodes, one each of Supergirl, Batwoman, The Flash, Arrow, and DC's Legends of Tomorrow in late 2019 to early 2020. The series also featured appearance by Chris Williams as Black Lightning, and producers on that show included a Crisis of Infinite Earths kinda crossover episode, where the world was destroyed by Animator and Black Lightning was saved. Oh, Antimatter, sorry. Other characters who appear in the Crisis of Infinite Earths: Burt Ward as Dick Grayson, Robert Wool as Alexa Knox, Derek Mears as Swamp Thing, Brendan Routh as Superman, Tom Welling as Clark Kent, Kevin Conroy as Batman, more like Bruce Wayne, but Bruce Kelly, and the cast of Birds of Prey, Titans, and Doom Patrol. And that seems to be it. What the heck's going on with this show? Oh wait, hearing. I thought that was she had something to her throat for a second. Sorry. Anyways, I really enjoyed Crisis on Infinite Earths. Um, Part of it was a love letter to DC fans. Um, I would have enjoyed seeing Kevin Conroy in the Batman suit. Because don't get me wrong, regardless how you feel about Kevin Conroy as live action Bruce Wayne, because that has been mixed, whether you like it or hate it. Just seeing Kevin Conroy as Bruce Wayne in live action was yes, especially since now he's no longer here. So that his cameo for me was I so love this cameo. Um, but it would have been cooler to see him in the bat suit. I would have enjoyed that, especially now that we won't ever get to see him in the bat suit. I think that is also kind of taking into play for me. Um, but yeah, like I said, I think part of the Crisis on Infinite Earths was a love letter to DC fans, and there would have been a few things I would have changed that I think they could have improved upon in the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. But I think it would have been cool for them to release it in theaters. And who knows? Now we're like what, 4-ish years post pandemic? Like they could do something similar to that. I know it's 5 hours. There's got to be hardcore. Like I know there's hardcore fans out there that wouldn't mind sitting through 5 hours just to watch the Crisis of Infinite Earths in theaters. I I can vouch for being a hardcore fan in terms of I would have if they told me tomorrow essentially that hey guys, we're re-releasing the 1990s Ninja Turtle film or trilogy in theaters. Me being a hardcore Turtles fan, Ninja Turtles fan, my butt will go to the theaters to watch it. Well, it would be like what, about 4-ish, maybe like around 5, maybe 6 hours. I would do that if they said if, and yes, I'm going to admit to being one of those fans. If Lucasfilm said we're solely re-releasing the first 6 Star Wars movies, the prequels, originals, in theaters, and it'd be a marathon, my butt will pay for that ticket to watch the prequels and original trilogy in theaters. Because to this day, I have seen The Phantom Menace 3 times in theaters. The first time being 3D, the other 2 times is when they re-released The Phantom Menace for its 25th anniversary earlier this year. So my point is, if they wanted to, um they could easily like re-release like Crisis on Infinite Earths in theaters, and I'm willing to bet you some people who are hardcore Arrowverse fans would pay money to see that in theaters. I'm telling you, there's a market for that. Anyways, what do you fellow mutants think about this? Let me know in the comment section below. I think they still can do it. I don't think it's exactly too late to do it. Like, I understand they want to do it. One was still kind of like new, but like I said, I still think there will be an audience. Anyways, love you all. Have a wonderful day. I don't want other. I'll talk to you fellow mutants later. Later, taters.